And Zinga, you're on.
All right, we're ready to go live.
Okay, fantastic. Ladies, we ready?
Yes.
Zinga, you're on. Okay. First of all, I want to welcome everyone back to Think Education 360. To Think Education 360. And this channel is dedicated to discussing various issues facing the educational system today. Now, last time we had talked about education and incarceration. And basically what we were saying, just for a quick recap, is that it costs about $53,000 a year in New Jersey to incarcerate a inmate, to house an inmate. And it costs $15,000 a year to educate a person. So now, if it costs $15,000 a year to educate a person, and let's go back to $53,000. The $53,000 don't include the aftercare. Once an inmate gets out of jail, particularly if he has a drug addiction or some kind of drug abuse problem, the state has to spend another $50,000 or plus to a year to the same individual. So what it means is that, let's round it off to $100,000. That means you could give a student a 4-year ride in a state school and still have change left. Okay, if in fact we chose education over incarceration. That's what we were saying last time. Since then, because we have several people on, I want to give everybody perspective. Since then, there was an article that I tried to email to everyone, and it addressed the closing of public schools all over America. The closing of public schools. So this is causing an even greater issue. So you have the talking points, but we have several people on, and I want to give everybody a chance to kind of just come on and introduce themselves. Give everyone a chance to tell a little bit about themselves and their life journey. So we're going to limit your time to 2 or 3 minutes. So we're going to start with a very good long life friend of mine, Brother Ed Crawford. Although I can introduce him myself, that introduction would take very, very, very long. And I want to bring on the legend, one of the legends and heroes of the civil rights and Black Power movement, Brother Ed Crawford.
Greetings all. It's a pleasure to be with you. Pat, he kind of tells the truth. We talk about high school days. But we started a place called the Chad School because the North School system wasn't satisfying us back in the 60s. So here we are 60 some years later, and we're still struggling with some of the same situation there. At this point, I'm just trying to be supportive of anybody who's trying to get our kids educated to survive in this world. I'm not going to be long. I'm just another one of Pat's friends. We've been riding this road for a while now. So I'm encouraged to know that there's some other folks who see the situation and want to do something with it.
Thank you, Brother Ed. And I want to bring on Sister Isis. Sister Isis, I want you to come on, tell us a little bit about yourself. Sister, okay.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sister Isis. I just started back into the school system this year at a charter school, and we are definitely in trouble. My job there is just to I'm taking notes on the education, how they teaching the young kids at that charter school. The grade I have is the first grade. It's different from the time that I was in school until now. And I'm glad we have this program to hit different subjects. So thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for that, Sister Isis. We have Sister Nzinga. Sister Nzinga, are you on?
Hello?
Yes, Sister Nzinga.
Yes, I am
Can you-
on. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm here to learn, take it all in. And yes, I've been in the education system, have seen it all, part of the chat school as well. And yeah, I'm here all for it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sister Nzinga. Sister Kenyatta. Sister Kenyatta, you on?
Still not set up for audio.
Oh, okay. Brother Douglas, Brother Rob.
Hello, sir. How you doing?
All right, now can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I was born and raised down in deep South Georgia, Brunswick, Georgia. Same town that Ahmaud Arbery was shot and killed. Came to Rutgers in '69, met you on the campus. Been friends ever since. Been in and out of the school system for the last 40 years. My wife taught history, high school history for 31 years. She's retired, but I remember the Chad School and all. Very good school. So I live here in Atlanta for the last 47 years, I think, since '79. So it's glad to be back on the scene with you again, my brother.
Yes, sir. And Brother Will. Brother Will?
I'm here.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Will Charles, very new to teaching, only I would say 6 years in. Worked for a private education firm, American Institute, and I've gone to school myself, and I've been in the system, and what I saw was definitely not what I thought it would be from both ends, and I thought it would be different coming in, but it's a fight against real teachers and real teaching.
Okay. So I think that we have a very, very good panel. And I think that it is important to address certain issues and in a perspective. And the perspective of this channel is that the educational system is at a crossroads. And we're being forced to make a decision on whether we're going to send our students to jail or to college, and so that they can come on or come out of college and become productive citizens. So I'm looking at this as a crisis. There's a crisis with discipline in the school system. There's a crisis with teachers' salary. There's a crisis of now closing schools. There's a crisis of the new thing of teaching out of the box, where that the teachers, educational systems have bought into the whole thing of buying these canned teaching programs, where that now the students are being forced to learn from the computer in class. So my first question to the panel is that, do you think one, the educational system can be saved? Do we need to save it? Can it be rehabilitated? Can it be done on a local, national, or regional level? So, and that's a lot to take in, but so I want to hear your thoughts on this. Can the educational system, as we know it, be saved? Brother Ed, you want to weigh in on that?
First of all, my assumption off the giddy up is saved from doing what it intended to do in the first place. You know, I think the system does what I think it's doing what it's intended to do. I think what we have to look at is how do we help parents go beyond them? Because if we're not helping parents understand the pitfalls, pratfalls, the games that are getting played with education, I don't know that the beast that's out there can be changed, and we may have to find a new way.
What do you think about that, Brother Douglas?
Yeah, I think we have to find a new way too also, man. I think I mentioned the last time that if it was up to me, I'll send everybody to all the black children to the Nation of Islam schools, the schools like the old Chad school, because I, like the brother said, I think public school system was intended to just be a failure. So I believe we need to find alternative ways.
Okay. Sister Isis, what do you think? Sister Isis?
Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
I agree with the other two men said. We have to find our own way. We have to go back teaching the children in small settings, black schools, thinking outside the box for the kids can grasp the information at a young age, like pre-K, first grade, second and third. I believe if they molded and everything was hands-on, the parents was on it, the teachers was on it. So when we get them to another public school, let's just say the fifth grade, they'll be rounded, they'll be on their craft. So yes, we need our own schools.
Sister Nzinga, what do you think?
Yes, I think that we need to build what we have, because I see that a lot of schools have been created out of this same talk that we're having. However, my question is, why doesn't it last for generation to generation? There are schools, there are people, there are co-ops and parents that are getting together and creating something that's better for their students. But the longevity, to me, is where I see that we struggle in. So sometimes, like I said before, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We need to support what's already in place. And then how can we sustain it from generation to generation?
Good point. Good point. Brother Will, you want to weigh in on that?
Harder to unmute everybody. I meant myself than everybody else. But yes, I think that it's a difficult situation, and I think that to start all over completely is a longer process. But I think if we compartmentalize, we can. But I think we need to use what we have here and what we have in our home bases. So case in point, from kindergarten to, let's say, fourth grade, fifth grade, homeschooling rules in the state of New Jersey in particular are more lax than other states. So you can pretty much do what you want and build them up throughout the levels. So us using our resources, homes, churches, etc., to actually not even bring them into the cycle that we went through and the indoctrination that we went into. And then the ones that already been through that cycle, we have to actually build an institution in order to break that cycle. And that's being in these buildings or these warehouses that's closing down and creating schools out of those. So I think we have to use both parts of the system, you know, create our own for the people who haven't been through. And then we have to use some of the system in order to change over some of the older people, say 6th grade through high school or college.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate here, and I'm looking at the broad what's happening nationally in education, and I'm seeing white students and white schools going through similar issues. So is this dysfunctional educational system a quote unquote Black problem, or is it an American student problem? In other words, is it a multiracial problem, or is it a African American problem? So are we missing it if we narrow it down to African Americans, or are we saying, well, there's a problem with the educational system broadly, if you understand what I'm saying? So, Brother Douglas, what do you think?
Repeat your point again.
In other words, what I'm saying is, my consensus, what I'm picking up from everyone, is that we're honing in and we're saying that this educational problem is a Black problem. Okay, it's affecting Black people in a negative way, which I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I'm saying to you, is it working for whites? Is it working for whites? Because I could remember even during the days when we were in college, and we went into an intellectual discourse with our white counterparts. They were at least intelligent and able to follow a intellectual train of thought. So what I'm saying is the educational system has failed Blacks, but has the educational system failed whites also?
Brother Pat?
Go ahead, Brother Ed.
Brother Pat, I think we can start out by saying the last president we have is an example of the dumb down of the educational system. Remember, 73 million people voted for this clown. The educational system in America is doing just what they wanted to do. They don't need people being smart. They don't need people thinking. You know, something we used to talk about back in the old days, the difference between us and Russia is, in Russia, you question, you get shot. What they learned to do here was first ignore us. Now we don't know what questions to even ask. They've made us stupid.
So you're saying that the education system has failed whites also?
Across the board, across the board.
Okay. Brother Douglas?
I agree, because I remember the days when we was in school together on campus, and we'd be in the classroom with white students, and we were able to carry on pretty good, intelligent conversation with each other, you know, debating and arguing and all of that. But, you know, I'm a guy, I grew up during Jim Crow, grew up during segregation. But I remember in 8th grade, I got radicalized real early. I had an 8th grade teacher who wrote a speech for me to do in an oratorical contest. And boy, I wish I still had that speech. It was called Integration, Then What? And you know, and I had already rewritten the preamble to the Constitution myself in my own words when I was around 14. So, I was, just, already fed up with, but I knew that even though we were segregated, we had the best of education because we had the best of teachers.
Right.
So, and Dr. King realized that at a certain point, that he said, well damn, probably would have been better for us to stay segregated instead of integrated, because once integration started, everything really just started getting very confused. The whole society, people themselves. So that's my opinion of it.
Okay. Sister Kenyetta, are you on yet? No.
No, it's no audio for her.
Okay. Sister Nzinga, what do you think?
I'm not too sure about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I have an
Good,
opinion.
Brother
So,
Will?
I think that it is failing the white people as well, and it always has a point. It was designed to do so, and that's why they did the remote learning, and they'll go back to the remote learning, and you get everything from the internet, whether right or wrong or otherwise. I do know that there is a difference between the public and the private schooling, and most of us are in public school, and they try to hold schools, the students hostage, so everybody won't just go to the private sector by putting in laws for the private sector that are much harder to achieve than the public sector. And I know that the new charter school system is still a part of the system. So the education isn't the same. And I think I know about such schools such as a Jesuit school, which teach you a whole different curriculum, which is mostly attended by Jewish people. And they are better prepared for this particular system of things than we are. So I really think that the schools is failing everyone, and including the white people, but because there's a different dissection within this country it seems like it's white, black, and this and that, but it's not. It's class, it's bloodlines, etc. So it becomes, well, I'm going to put my child in this Jesuit school, and they're going to get accepted there. And the rest of you guys, I'll give you a charter so you feel better about yourself, so you won't put them in a private or teach them yourself.
Okay, let's examine that. And this is the next point I want to make. So this concept of protecting my own turf, protecting my own child, educating my own child, and whether it's charter or private school, what's going to happen in 20 years to all those uneducated, thirsty, unemployed people? Okay, where are they going to be? How are they going to act? They're going to be dispossessed. They're going to be poor. They're going to be hungry. Okay, and will this produce this polarization of protecting your own? Will this produce a safe society? What do you think, Brother Ed? No, notice I'm not letting anybody sit back, right?
I noticed. I don't know, Pat. Give me the question again. Give me the question again.
In other words, what I'm seeing now is that they're closing down a lot of public schools. They're boosting up a lot of charter, we're going to call it public schools and charter public school and private school. So the public schools are, in terms of population, they're losing millions of students a year.
Oh yeah.
The public charter schools and funding, the charter public schools are increasing each year and the private schools are increasing. So my thing is, and then this is a sense of, let's say, a sense of relaxation for those people who can put their kids in public charter or private school. My question is this a false sense of security? Because what happens to all those students who couldn't get into the public charter schools and the private schools? They're going to be unemployed, unprepared. So what are they going to be doing while everyone else is enjoying riding around in Mercedes Benzes and living the American dream? What do you think they're going to be doing?
There are at least three categories, as you state: the public warehouses, the charter warehouses, and then there's the schools. There's the day and boarding schools that don't get talked about.
Right.
Now, on the first two, it's a money issue.
Okay.
All they're doing is diverting money. You know, the public schools, they're just taking their money and saying, okay, now these charter schools, we're going to give you a piece of this money. And most of these folks that are in this educational game now are in it for the money. You know, I don't know that they're coming at it like when we were walking around the projects asking people to let us educate their kids back in '69, you know. If you know your way through the system, you can probably get your child educated. But for the bulk of the folks out here, there's a problem. You know, if you're not aware of what this is doing to you, if you are now the children of several generations of miseducation and lack of education, how do you steer your child through it when you don't know? So I think we've got a situation where all of our different social and political groups and all, we've got to educate our people that what they see in front of them ain't helping them a bit. I don't think enough of our people know that just because your child goes to school Monday through Friday don't mean they're learning a whole lot. You know.
So what happens to that child?
We're
in 15 years.
Pat, that's something I've been asking about for a while now, because I haven't heard Biden or anybody say what's going to be the employment landscape out here, because physical labor ain't in America no more. Physical labor there are too many places outside of America where folks will work for less to do what we don't even think we want to do anymore. So if you're not a computer illiterate person, if you're not going to medical school, or you're a plumber, electrician, you know, auto mechanic, if you're not using your hands, you're gonna be in trouble here in America, because ain't gonna be no labor work. So I don't know, Pat. I really worry about what's gonna happen to these generations coming behind us if you don't come up with, if we don't make sure they get some skills, because I don't think America's gonna care.
Okay. Brother Douglas?
Pat, that idea I told you about, that
Yes.
economic idea I told you about,
Yeah.
that would be the solution to keep all that from happening.
Okay.
You know, because we would be able to fund our own schools and educate our own children. So that's why I think it's that's important, and it can be done. I think it is possible, and it's just a matter of being committed to your fellow brother or sister to help them, since they are the same ones who help you. So we could avoid that situation, because boy, if it comes to that, whew, whether you're educated or not, it's gonna be a lot of chaos. Don't even mention high crime, because people go do something to feed their children.
Okay.
I don't care where they live or what they have or don't have.
All right. Sister Isis?
That's a deep question. I'm just going to say something in my decision. It has to reverse itself. And what I mean by that is, let's go back when I wasn't born, when our ancestors was doing slavery, and when slavery stopped, what did everybody do? You had the people that knew how to grow farm. You had the people that knew how to sew. You had the other people that knew how to teach tap. So we would have to reverse to that. What I'm saying is, let's use Newark, for example, like 11th Street. What I do, we sell stuff in front of our house. So those people that's not educated have to survive. They have to go back to that incentive and information to survive, instead of killing and locking up. It's going to be both to me, but I believe that those that's not school wise and don't like school and don't have a computer skill is okay, but as long as they have a skill of making things and reselling it in your community or out your community, that would be their survival. And I think that's what we should be pushing also, because school is not for everybody. It's just not.
Good point. Good point. Brother Will?
I think that what will happen in 15 years, well, I'm gonna say 5, or I would say another 8. 2030 is gonna be bad. And because all this autonomy that's gonna happen is gonna put a lot of people out of work. Truck drivers, etc., electric vehicles. We know all those things are coming. They showed us Amazon has electric vehicles now, and it's just not self-driving yet. And they put the infrastructure in place for it to happen, the 5G towers. So it's going to be chaos, and that's what they want, because they give you the chaos so that they can give you the solution. And their solution is going to be what they gave after so many movements that we had: food stamps, universal income. I don't want you to do nothing. Sit here and do what I say, else you won't get paid.
That's a good point. So let me bring this back to the school system. I know when, and I think Brother Ed touched on this earlier. I know when we came up, there was something called the PTA. And the PTA wasn't just a little makeshift body. The PTA, when the president of the PTA spoke, all politicians, everyone in society listened. So it carried an impact. The Parent Teachers Association, and they were right there monitoring the school system. They were monitoring the teachers, they were monitoring the principals, and they were the advocates for parents. So my question is, do you think that one of the answers is to reunite a system like the PTA? Do we need a PTA not only in public schools, public charter schools, and private schools and boarding schools, as the brother pointed out. Do we need to bring back the PTA? Brother, anyone can take that. Brother Doug, you want to take that?
Well, see, the PTA has been down south here. It has been taken over. It's not called. It's been taken over by the actual school districts.
Wow.
And it's not a parent teacher thing anymore. The principals, the majority of the principals have been co-opted by the school district. They are basically running the so-called PTAs now, not the parent, not the teacher. It's just been a total meltdown in the PTA down this way. And I guess probably nationwide. So we have to change names on it, but we sure enough need parent engagement and parent control between the parent and the teacher, not between the principal or the administrators, because they have totally just bamboozled, just screwed up the whole system where we can't really advocate like we want to.
All right. Brother Ed?
You know, as Brother Douglas is talking, I was thinking, you know, every so often the news will tell us about where the United States stands on the industrialized list of math scores and science scores, and we're piss poor. And that's not Black piss poor, that's United States piss poor. We're at the point now where a bunch of these young men can't even go into the service because they lack the knowledge to go into the service even. So this ain't accidental. This is not, oh gee, how did we get here? The PTA, listen, if Pat, when you talk about the PTA, it's funny because, you know, Sister Crawford was president of the Bergen Street School PTA for 9 years.
That's right.
She ran, the principal, everybody knew her. She came through there anytime she wanted. She monitored principal, teachers, students, the custodians. She monitored everybody. But and that was a strong system. PTA was listened to in the United States.
That's right.
They needed to get us away from a partnership with the school and with the administration and the teachers. Because once you break that up, now we're fussing with teachers rather than trying to make sure that these teachers are doing the best for our children. We're all in adversarial places here. We're all off in our different corners, and all we're doing is clashing. And I don't know that, first of all, it's intentional. What we have to do is decide how do we break out of the mold and the system that they put around us. So I really think that we're looking at a system that will tell you up front, like I said, our numbers as an industrial country for math and science are abysmal. It's terrible. And, you know, you got states saying, well, you know, we got the right to teach we want. Well, if your kids don't know how to go out here and go to work, maybe you need somebody beyond you telling you what you need to do. So again, going back to what Sister Isis said, we got, you know, let's look it over. Let's see what works in there that we can pull out and use. But let's not be deluded into thinking that we're going to make that be a better system. I don't see that.
Okay. Well, Sister Isis, what do you think? Do we need a strong PTA?
Yes,
Yes, we need a strong PTA, and the system knew what they was doing. They eliminated because the PTA. I'm listening to y'all guys' stories. Y'all are older than me. Y'all saying that one person was on the teachers, the principal, and everybody. They set that up to take away that power. So when they took away the power, everything else fell. The education, the learning is nobody's not being accountable for lack of teaching, and it's the whole thing. So yes, it's we need it back.
Brother Will?
I think so. I think we definitely need something like that. The issue with everything that we build is that we create one leader who sells us out, and it becomes a part of the institution or a leg of the institution to keep the real problems or the real issues that we are bringing out contained. So just with the many other organizations, when we bring up something, they may say let's march, but they don't take any real action. And kind of like with the PTA, with it being politicized, they may have an issue, but they say, no, we're not going to say anything about that because they're giving us this or they're doing that. And when you have freedom and you don't appoint one person to sell you out, you have more of people being able to voice their opinions with no political intentions. So I think we need to bring it back. I just think we need to make sure when we form everything, we bring everything to the forefront and not politicize it or allow any one person to fully control something so powerful.
All right, so I got a few more points I want to get you guys to respond on. One is teachers' salary. I personally think that the amount of money that teachers make is appalling, and it's not encouraging. And I believe, and this might be a radical stance, but I believe there shouldn't be a teacher in America making less than $100,000 a year. I want to get some weigh in on that. Sister Isis, you want to start?
Mike, yes, only going to say to that is I agree, is because going back into the school system, it's more than teaching now. Your kids are mostly physical. I don't like to use the word, I'm not going to say messed up, but they need help. So in the morning, you have to pay attention to I call them the little people, to see what type of move they are. A lot of them in some move that something happened last night or that morning, and they bring everything to you. So yes, I believe the teachers should get paid more, or either start off what you just said, because it's just more than teaching. Believe me, you have to be the psychiatrist, you have to be the mom, you have to be the teacher, you got to be the discipline, and then you also just got to be the listener. That's it. Sometimes they will just tell you every little thing. You have to really listen. So yes.
Sister Nzinga, will you want to weigh in on that?
Yes, I agree that teachers are underpaid. There are a lot of teachers that have multiple jobs just to sustain their living situation. And I feel that teachers would be, you get more quality teachers. And also teachers that, okay, learning never stops, and that's for teachers as well. So to me, if the income is more stable and there's more income coming to household, because you have teachers that have their own families as well, right? And they have their family, or they're starting a family. So I believe that that is a way to bring and to develop more quality teachers, and teachers do not have to come to work tired or have to get multiple jobs just to sustain their lifestyle.
Okay. Brother Ed?
Again, I go back to one of the original premises. They don't care how this education system works. So all the blah, blah, blah about why teachers should get more money, we don't even, there's no value to the education system in America now. Why are we going to give them more money? Is the attitude I'm feeling out of folks out there, that why is the garbage man in some cities making more money than the teacher does? You know, why is, you know, and we need policemen, and let us not devalue them. Yes, we need them out there, but these are the folks who educate our future, and we don't give the profession the respect that it's due and that it should get. But then again, if the system's not doing what it's supposed to do, then why are we going to value somebody that, you know, we don't care. We don't care about the system. So the folks in it, you're out of luck too.
Okay, Brother Doug.
Yeah, there's some issues here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna have to get off this iPad because my wife has a Zoom meeting, and I'm having problems joining on my cell phone. But
All right.
yeah, we need to definitely increase the salaries for teachers, but I don't think they're going to let that happen. You know, like the brother said from the beginning, public school system was intended to fail, basically. You know, the only way out is to do our own thing. But we got to be able to finance it. You know,
Going back to Nzinga's point. Right. So let me say this. Let me ask you all this. The discipline that's going, or the lack of discipline that's going on in the school systems now, how would you change that or bring that under control? I know in Chad's school, we had our own method and we didn't tolerate that. So we have a situation where at many of these schools, the students are running the schools. So how do we now put the genie back in the bottle? How do we gain control? I mean, the first level of education is discipline. So if a student can't, if a teacher is worried about getting clocked upside the head, one, how effective is the teacher instruction? So how do we put the genie back in the bottle? Go ahead, Brother Will.
Before I answer that, I just want to answer the thing about the teachers being paid at least $100,000. That could happen, and I think that some of the solutions are actually using the talents that we have in the schools. So we do fundraisers at schools all the time, and these companies take about 65-75% of the funds and give 25% back to the school, and that's a good number, if I say so. Right. So your kids are running around selling candy, they selling popcorn, they selling all this, and the company is taking most of the profits and you get to keep some. And there you go. We have lunch ladies, we have parents, we have everything. We do simple stuff like bake sales like we used to do, and take those vending machines out, and you made a whole bunch of money just off the people there.
So what you're saying is, we're sitting on our own solution.
Yes, we can sell our own goods, and actually goods that people need, people don't need, like the candies and cakes that they buy all the time. And we can sell those ourselves and take a percentage of that to pay the teachers. And we can make the goods. So
excellent idea.
That'll pay for everything. And that changes everything within the school, because the school has its own economy, and it is an economy. When anybody went to college, anybody that sold anything in college made a whole bunch of money. So you had people paying for college by cutting hair. You had people paying for college by selling candy, and some people were selling illegal drugs. But they paid for college. Right. And that's the thing. It's all an economy. So going from economy to the discipline issue is simple. It's culture. We don't control the culture. We're living off a culture that they designed for the 50 states in America. So if we're doing the same culture as they are doing, then we become them and we're not them. So within the Black community, if we had a culture where we taught our kids from young certain disciplines, certain things, we taught them economy, and which some of these schools, these private schools are teaching all these things. So that's why they have a different demeanor. The culture runs everything. And right now our culture is drill, hip hop, and it's disrespectful, and it's all these things because we're not controlling our culture. So within our community, we have to control our culture. It's difficult to rein in because they're flashing money and glitz and glamour in front of them. And the truth of the matter is, if we did the basic thing of selling our own goods and buying our own goods, then we would create that culture that we would want because we would control the economy.
All right, so let me say this. If we have what I'm saying is we have a discipline problem right now. And I'm saying, and I'm asking, let's say I'm going to school on Monday. What do I do, okay, with Bob, the knucklehead, and Sally, sassy Sally, and so on and so forth? I'm talking about in a program that we can institute, not in 5 years, tomorrow, in a perfect world.
Right away, we'll go to trying to find a system that everybody can understand. One is teamwork. So within any sport or anything that you do, kids won't go to school for math, but they'll go to school for gym. They didn't cut math. It's because gym, they get to be with their friends, they get to play, but they're learning math. You play 21 basketball, you're counting. You know what I mean?
What I'm saying is, brother Ed, weigh on this. What I'm saying to you is that
I'm going to school
tomorrow.
If particularly if I'm a parent, but I'm going to school tomorrow and I'm saying to the teacher, listen, I know we got some problems with the knuckleheads and the sassy and all that. And I think we got to sit down, you, me, principal, and we got to sit down and figure out how we, the community, are going to deal with this, because what's going on now ain't working. And let's be honest, a lot of these kids leave home sassy and acting up, and mom ain't in charge of them when they home. So they get to school and we're expecting the school to do something that they haven't gotten when they were at home in the first place. We got to, as a community, and when I say we, meaning us, got to go into these schools and, okay, you got a problem there. How do we help the school get better? They're not going to do it on their own, and we've got to offer them that help.
So you're saying it's a community. Reestablish a communicational link with the school. So Isis, we got about 3 minutes left. Last comments go to you.
Yes, it's the same thing I said earlier about we should be getting paid more because we have to pay attention to the children. It is teamwork. I think the school and the parents should work together. And then you got to really pay attention to the students because they do want to tell you what happened. And we need more men. That's what I have to say. There is no men in the teaching system. It's one man to 10 teachers. It's not good. All of the boys need men. I'm sorry. I got 5 of them in my classroom. I can touch them sometimes, but then sometimes they go to the left field on me. Then I got to be the other person. Then they come apologize, but they need the men.
All right, we're going to wrap up. I just want to remind people we do have an ebook coming out on why students fail, and also a book on failing math. We wrote already on, it's available online, the YouTube shorts on mathematics. So what we did was we've also produced about 326 videos, short videos on various aspects of mathematics that's available free to help parents teach their students. So we touched all levels, and we will continue. Our goal is to produce 5,000 videos for this year. And they will all be free, available for anyone that's having trouble with math. But again, once again, I want to thank my panel for coming out. I want you all to subscribe to the channel. I want you to come back next time. We want to build a panel. We want to build a conversation. We want to rebuild the community. Stay strong. I like to start on time, also like to end on time, because all this CP time stuff, they don't work anymore. We got to put that piece to rest. But again, thank you for joining. I think that we lost Brother Douglas because he had to leave. But this will be available on YouTube. It's a part of the official record. And Brother Will, I think that's it. And our